I swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help me God.
You understand that you are under oath, and that being under oath means you are sworn to tell the truth.
Yes, I understand.
Have you had your deposition taken in the past?
No, I have not.
Do you understand that your responses here have the same force as in a courtroom with a judge or jury?
Yes, I understand.
Are you prepared to answer my questions today?
Yes, I am.
There isn't anything that will prevent you from providing me your full attention.
No, there's not. No, there's not.
You aren't taking any medications that will prevent you from answering my questions, are you?
No, I am not.
Will you let me know if you don't understand one of my questions?
Yes.
If you need to take a break at any time, just tell me and we'll take a break. Is that okay?
Yes, that's okay.
What is your full name?
DeloresPeters.
Have you ever used any other names?
Yes, I have Dolores Cantrell and Dolores Kelly in my maiden name.
What is your maiden name?
Laster.
Do you have any nicknames?
Yes, I do.
What are they?
My nicknames are Lolo and Lois.
What is your date of birth?
August 9th, 1980.
Where were you born?
Logan, West Virginia.
What is your age?
41.
Where do you live and how long have you lived there?
I've lived in Alabama for, we got back from Germany in 1996. So, and I think we moved to Alabama in roughly 1997. I'm sorry, you guys, I'm getting all my dates all mixed up. So 1997, I believe, is when we moved to Alabama. So we've been in the area. Well, I've been in the area for a while. I moved away a couple of times. I moved to Savannah at one point, and then I joined the military and moved away. So I moved away a couple of times as well. But I've been back in Alabama since 2014. So I've been back since then. So how long has that been? It is 2022 now. So what is that, like 8 years or something? Yeah, I think I've been back for nearly 8 years.
Where have you lived previously?
Well, I was stationed in the military, so I moved away then, but I went to 5 different high schools. I grew up in Germany, but I'm originally from Detroit. My family moved around a lot for reasons that I'll explain during well, whenever you ask me, I guess during the deposition phase or during the trial phase. I'm sure we'll get into why we moved around so much. But my mother was also in the military, and so we moved around quite a bit due to that as well. But to answer your question more thoroughly, I've lived in Detroit. I was born in Logan, West Virginia, so I've lived in West Virginia. I've lived in South Carolina. I've lived in Germany. I've lived in Georgia, in Virginia. Um, where else? Several places in Georgia, a couple of different times in Alabama. Um, I think that's it. Yeah, I think that's it. Yeah.
For how long were you at those addresses?
Well, all of them were various times. Like, I think the most time was the time that we spent here since we came back from Germany. But in Germany, we were there for 9 years, non-consecutive. So I believe it was like 3 years the first time, and then 4 years the second time that we were in Germany. Other than that, the place that I've spent most of my time is actually here in Alabama.
Why did you move?
Well, like I said, my mother was military, and my father, when we initially moved away from Detroit, while I was born in West Virginia, actually, was my father was addicted to drugs. And from my understanding, he moved away from Detroit and moved us all as well. My mother was pregnant with me, so that he could get clean. Um, but then we moved back to Detroit from my understanding, and then someone was trying to kill my father, and so we moved away again, and that's how we ended up in Germany. Because my father wanted to get as far away from the threat as he possibly could, and because he was stationed in Germany when he was in the military as well. That was during the time that he and my mother met, and just before they met. He was in the military and he was stationed there. So he had some familiarity with Germany. Um, and so he thought it would be best to go back there.
Did anyone live with you, and who, and for how long?
Well, yeah, I lived with my siblings, of course. I grew up with my siblings. I have four brothers. Three of them are older than me, and I have one that is younger than me. Most of we're actually pretty stair step. We're all pretty much like 2 years apart from each other. But I am 9 years apart from the oldest one, who is 50. He's 50 now. And so he and I are 9 years apart. And then my younger brother, he and I are a little less than 2 years apart. So that kind of gives you an idea of how we were all, born.
Have you ever been married?
Yes, actually, I've been married 4 times. Of course, now I'm married to my forever husband, but I have been married 3 times in the past before, I married my husband now.
What is your spouse's name?
Oh, his name is Philip Peters.
What is your spouse's occupation?
He is an accounting engineer. So his degree is actually in accounting. He graduated from Auburn University. So that's what he does.
Do you have children?
Yes, I have 2 sons.
Are they employed? If so, where?
Yes, actually, my oldest son, he is 21, and he works at Walmart actually, and he's going to school. He should be done within the next, I want to say, he should be done first part of next year, in the next of this year, um, with his associate's degree in electrical engineering. So I'm super proud of him. And then I have another son. He is 17, and he is still in high school. Getting ready to go into his senior year. So I'm also very proud of him and excited for my sons.
Where did you attend school?
Well, okay, so if you're asking about high school, I actually attended 5 different high schools. Um, During the time when I actually got into high school, that's when we started to make our transition again from Germany. So in Germany, I went to 2 different high schools. Now, that high school switch was because the school that I was going to didn't have a cosmetology program, and that's what I wanted. Well, that's what I thought I wanted to do, was be a cosmetologist, hairdresser. And so I transferred schools so that I could attend cosmetology school at this school was called Ramstein. It was on Ramstein Air Force Base. It was Ramstein High School, and so I switched from K Town, which is Kaiserslautern in Germany. We called it K Town High School. So I transferred from there and started going to Ramstein High School for the cosmetology program, and then after that we moved back to the United States, and so I attended school in Carrollton, Georgia. I attended high school. And then we moved from there, we moved to Temple. So I attended Haralson County High School. That's also in Georgia. And then we moved from there to Alabama. And so I eventually graduated from Cleburne County High School, which is in Heflin, Alabama. So that's where my 5 different high schools come from. But then after that, I attended college. I attended a business college called Gaston State Business School, Business College. No, Gaston Business College, and then I graduated from there with a certificate similar to an associate's degree in business management. And then from there, I went to a traditional college called Jacksonville State University, and that's where I achieved 3 more degrees.
What level of education do you have?
Okay, so yeah, that's what I was just getting into. So I have a bachelor's degree and I have 2 master's degrees. So I actually am a double master's. My master's degree is the first one's in public administration and business, and the second master's degree is in counseling.
What schools or colleges have you attended?
Well, like I was just saying, I'm sorry, I answered the questions before you even asked them. But I attended Gaston Business College and I also attended Jacksonville State University. So from JSU, I received my undergraduate degree, which is in liberal studies. I forgot to mention that. And then I got to receive 2 additional degrees from there.
Did you finish? Why or why not?
Well, yes, I finished. And like I was saying, I hold 2 different master's degrees. I'm also a nationally certified counselor. So right after I finished getting my degree, in fact, right when I was still in the program, when I took the national counseling exam, I passed it and became a nationally certified counselor.
Have you ever been arrested? When and why?
Ooh, so I actually was technically arrested when I was in the military, and this arrest it came off of the results of a urinalysis. I was accused of taking a controlled substance that was not prescribed to me. So I think that the charge itself was, or the accusation itself was, illegal use of a controlled substance. I think that's what they called it. So technically, I was arrested because even though like I took myself to the police department, I wasn't actually handcuffed, but I was, read my rights, and I was fingerprinted and photographed as a result of that incident.
Have you ever been convicted of a crime?
No, I was not convicted of that crime. I know that you'll probably ask more questions about it, so I don't want to get into too much detail right now. But I was not convicted of that. I had to fight to clear my name, but it ended favorably for me.
What crime did you commit?
Well, I didn't actually commit. I didn't commit this crime. I was accused of committing this crime. And like I said, I know that you'll probably ask more details now. The deposition is not necessarily the right time to go into details about this, but um, the the bottom line is that I was called to take a routine urinalysis. We did this often in the military. We always had to comply with our urinalysis, which were done. I want to say it was done um, maybe maybe twice a month or something like that. So we'd be randomly called. It might have been once a month, but I think it was more frequently than that. But we would randomly be chosen from a urinalysis or from a list to take the urinalysis for random checks. And so one day I was called to take the urinalysis. Um, and so I came into work to take the urinalysis just like I normally do. And about a month later, I received a call that said that they found traces of um, a drug called temazepam in my system. And from my understanding, it's a prescription sleeping pill that was not prescribed to me, and I didn't take it. And so, of course, from that accusation, then I began to do work, basically like to clear my name. So I had to look into the the whole way that they were taking the urinalysis, and I had to look into all the ins and outs of that in order um, to basically plead my innocence that I had not taken this drug or this prescription sleeping pill that they had accused me of. Um, and so, like I said, it ended up ending favorably for me um, after about a year of fighting that accusation. I was able to clear my name, and I was not convicted of taking anything.
Have you been involved in any other legal claims or lawsuits? If so, when and where?
No, not to my recollection. I was not involved in any other, other than divorces, if you consider the divorces to be, some type of, lawsuit type of a situation. Um, but no, I was never involved in any other cases that I'm aware of. No.
How did you prepare for this deposition?
Well, so I've actually done a lot of preparing for this deposition. Um, I started preparing uh, maybe about a year ago when I knew that I would be bringing charges against my father and preparing to divorce him. I knew that I would need evidence for the claims that I was making, and so I began um, to just compile all of my paperwork and compile um, my audio recordings and my video recordings. I also have witness statements and other documentation that I've compiled so that I can show all my evidence during this deposition process. So I've done that, and I've just done research in trying to make sure that I am doing the deposition process properly, and um, and that I have brought forth all the evidence that I need to be successful in this case.
Have you spoken to anyone other than your counsel about this case? And if so, who?
Well, actually, I am representing myself in this case, but I have sought guidance from other people, spiritual advisors, other people who are just good at giving advice. I've also done a lot of research on the law process so that I am prepared for whatever the judge requires of me and whatever questions may be asked of me. But other than that, I have not spoken to anyone else about this case.
What specifically was discussed?
So we discussed basically the proper way in how to conduct a case that involves a pastor, a spiritual leader, and a father. Um, I was confused in the beginning stages of this process because I didn't see evidence where this had been done before. I didn't see a precedence that was set before. And so I discussed the actual ins and outs of this case and sought the Bible and its guidance on exactly how to make sure that this process was done decent and in order. So it was, I sought guidance and counsel based on the fact that there was no precedence for this case, so that I could make sure that everything was done just right and done with integrity and with class.
What documents pertaining to the case have you reviewed?
So during this process of obtaining evidence, I was able to acquire a lie detector test that was taken by the defendant, my father, Pastor Harold Laster Sr. And so I've been able to obtain those records, but I don't have the full record. I'm not sure that the lie detector test is authentic and genuine. And so I would like to subpoena those records for the actual lie detector test that was taken, either from the defendant or from the polygrapher. Also, I have reviewed documents from a child abuse case that happened in Germany back in 1992-93 in the time frame, and those documents were actually in German, so I had to get those documents transcribed, and so I just did a checks and balances to ensure that the transcription was accurate to the actual documents that were written in German. And then I have audio and video documentation that I have gotten transcribed. So I have also reviewed those records, the transcriptions, to ensure that the transcriptions are that they are accurate and in line with the audio and video recordings that I've been able to obtain.
Did you meet with counsel for the other side prior to this deposition? Excuse me.
No, I haven't actually. I'm not sure that the defendant, my father, Pastor Harold Laster, has counsel. I have tried to get in touch with my father's bishop to no avail. And also, there is my brother who is my father's right-hand man, who is also familiar with the case. I would imagine that for this case, my brother would be the one who is representing my father. But to my knowledge, my father has not sought or has not obtained any other counsel other than my brother and possibly his brother, who is the bishop.
Have you spoken with or signed any agreements with reporters regarding the case in question?
No, I have not. I have actually yesterday I ran into a news reporter. There are two news reporters that I'm aware of that have my book, and they are aware of this process and what we're doing. So at some point I will be going on TV or other shows to present this case as well. But prior to this, no, I have not entered into any contract. I have not signed any agreements with any any reporters or anything regarding this case.
Just tell me everything you did to prepare for this deposition.
Oh, wow. So in the beginning of this process, I felt that I would be attacked because of my father's status, because he is a pastor. I knew that speaking out about the abuse that I witnessed and that I experienced from him would be difficult to really get across to people. And so in the beginning stages, I tried to, I actually took classes on how to write, how to speak. I took classes on narcissism, and I also did a lot of self-teaching a lot of classes on YouTube. I have I've taken classes with Lisa Nichols, who has taught me how to speak more clearly and concisely to get my point across, to get the ideas across about this case. I have also taken classes with Dr. Romney, who is the foremost expert on narcissism, everything narcissism. And so I have taken classes with her, and I've achieved a certificate for a class, a train the trainer class that Dr. Romney conducted. I've also taken numerous classes on making videos, on editing videos, on establishing a social media presence, and exactly how to do that as all part of this deposition process. I've also obtained numerous audio and video recordings, as well as other documentation. I've also obtained witness statements in the form of audio recordings and video recordings as well. I've also sought the guidance of spiritual advisors in different areas, both on the Christian side and on the spiritual side. Not necessarily prescribing to a specific religion, but someone who covers spirituality as a whole. I've also did a book review of Divorcing a Parent as preparation for this deposition, as well as read numerous other books on the process of healing from childhood trauma, from speaking my truth, from coming to terms with my anger and learning how to express my anger in a way that is clear and concise and gets the point across, and also promotes positive change. So that, among other things, I've also written a memoir, which is now an international bestseller. That also highlights my experiences, and here it is right here, that highlights my experiences growing up with my father. And that book is also going to go hand in hand, coincide with the deposition process. So as I reveal my story, as I reveal my evidence, and speak my truth, I will also be going right along with the book. So I've also backed up my testimony by a written statement as well. As well as, now I'm remembering that, I've also done numerous videos and audio recordings about my experiences that that date back to May, I want to say May timeframe of 2021. So I have been speaking out for a while, as well as just doing the work to not only prepare for this deposition process, but prepare myself emotionally, spiritually, physically, for divorcing my parent, but divorcing my father, and moving forward with helping other people to do the same thing.